Hi everybody, this is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobop1987. This is my review for today. And today's review, ladies and dudes, well my friends, once again, I'm going to do another top 5 list that nobody has never done before. And once again, I'm going to do another different type of top 5 list that involves one of my most favorite movies of all time, and truly one of the most underrated films of all time. And truly Liam Neeson's best. So, it's time for another top 5 list that involves Taken. And I'm going to let you know it's been 5 long years that Taken had finally came to America in the year of January 30th, 2009. And it's a freaking shame I never saw this movie in theaters. But I finally saw it on TV in FX, and this movie did blow me away. With its great storyline, it has good action, good drama, good score, and one of the most strongest points ever in this movie is when Liam Neeson played one of the most coolest Irish assassin dudes of all time, named Brian Mills. And I was thinking to myself, what will happen if Taken should have had a retelling story? It needs to have more character development with a few of the characters, or maybe the storyline should have been different than this original one. And most of all, how about if we decide to add a brand new character that wasn't in this movie? And I want this character to be the most memorable one of all. And to tell you the truth, ladies and dudes, I really want to see Taken, the retelling story, in a nice, beautiful, hand-drawn animation without any CGI at all. It needs to be pure, crisp, and I want to see some beautiful, hand-drawn animation style that we hadn't seen for a very long time. And it will still be PG-13 or rated R, whichever you prefer for the Taken retelling story rating. So, without further ado, ladies and dudes, let's head on to my top 5 most greatest ideas for Taken retelling story. And I got my piece of paper to prove it, and I gotta do it in 2 parts. So anyway, let's get on with the list. At number 5, here's a good idea that nobody has never done before, or they already did, is how about in the beginning of the story, let's try to get to know Brian Mills' background story. You know, everything that we need to learn about one of the most coolest characters of all time. And I want this flashback story to be like 3.5 minutes or so. So number 5 is learning about Brian Mills' background story, and plus a little bit of narration to Brian Mills' old friend named Benjamin Williams. Now the reason why I decided to put that on the list is it'll be a cool idea if we can get to know Brian Mills' background storyline. We need to know about his past, his dark times, his history, you know, the days when he became an assassin, or how did he become the member of the CIA agent crew, and know all about the secrets of so many techniques, a particular set of skills. And thanks to one man who did help him out, so Brian Mills can become one of the most greatest warriors of all time. And that is Benjamin Williams, the guy that I decided to choose for Alan Rickman. And yes, Brian and Ben had a really, really good friendship from the last 20-something years ago. They shared their good times, their bad times, and the times when they worked together, and sometimes they could fight each other sometimes, and just so many things here and there back in their CIA agent days, until one unfaithful day, later on in Brian Mills' life, he did get divorced to his precious Lenore or Lenny, whichever you prefer. And, he's heartbroken, kind of unsure, and his life is in a big giant mess right now, and he really wants to spend time with his little girl, Kimmy, for as long as he can. Let's say that Brian Mills is in a dark area right now. And as for Benjamin Williams, he returned home to London, England. His life is kind of fine. He wants to restart his life all over again, try to make a new chapter for himself, and try to keep everything nice and positive. And he also has a family of his own. He has a wife and a son, and he wants to spend time with them. And also, he really wants to spend time with a big giant clock named Big Ben. And Ben really likes to be friends with a big giant clock for as long as he can remember. And Ben was thinking to himself that, he decided to go back to, California and try to help out his old friend for as long as he can, to figure out what's wrong with Brian Mills' life right now as we speak. So anyway, a background story of Brian Mills' past will be an interesting idea, and also adding a narration to the story will be also freaking cool as well. So I decided to put that at number 5. Number 4, I'm going to cut this short about this one because here is a really cool, interesting plot twist that I really like to see in a retelling story of Taken. This will be pretty interesting. So for number 4 is, what will happen if Stewart should have been the main villain of the movie? Now that will be frickin' interesting. And since I already told you about my Taken movie review that I frickin' hate Stewart. He was nothing but a pointless character in the whole entire movie. All he cares about is living in a big, giant, rich house full of riches, fame, fortune, and money. But what will happen if he should have been the main villain of the film? I'm sure that maybe he's the one who did something wrong and making the Mills family miserable for the last 5 frickin' years. I'm sure he did use Kim and Lenore as his puppets for his selfish reasons, being in a big giant house full of money. He never cares about their love. That type of thing. And what will happen if he did work with those evil Propoya dudes in Paris, working in the sex trade business and try to kidnap all the girls and give them the drugs and all the bad, too much information stuff. And I'm really sure that Stewart does hate Brian Mills some way, and he wants to find a way to kill him by force. And I would like to see in the finale if Brian Mills and Stewart should have had a fight at the near end to see which one of these 2 men will be the last one standing. So, I would love to see Stewart as a villain, and it will be the main plot twist to the story. So anyway, I decided to put that at number 4. And for number 3 is, I guess you already know what it is, but I decided to add a brand new character in the story, and this character will be the most interesting one of all. So for number 3 is adding Benjamin Williams to the story. I will say Benjamin Williams will be one awesome character that nobody will never forget in movie history. And this is the character I really want Alan Rickman to play. And since Alan Rickman had never played a good guy character before in an action movie, and I would like to see that happening in the later on future. And as for his character of Benjamin Williams, I got a lot of things to say about him. Like, one for example, yes, he is an old teacher, an old master, a good mentor, and a good sensei, but most of all, he is a very wonderful friend of Brian Mills. And here's another cool, interesting part about Benjamin Williams. Benjamin Williams likes to go crazy about Brian Lenore's relationship back in the past. And you know what's the most craziest thing when Ben is really nuts about Brian Lenore's relationship is he really wants to see them having sex. Yeah, Benjamin Williams would like to see Brian Lenore having sex, but sadly he never got a chance to see it all because Brian Lenore not gonna let him see them doing it. It was funny. And, yeah, sometimes Ben can be a goofball, but all the time he's the most serious character. He's a little bit of a goofball, you know, being a comedy relief and all that stuff, but sometimes he's definitely the most serious character. He wants to stay serious all the time, you know, for so many years to come. He also has a dark past. Back in his old days when he was once a British assassin, you know, hunting down, killing people, and all that stuff. Let's see, what else? And sometimes a few friends that Benjamin knows, some of the people like to call him Ben for short, but most of all, the most important thing I really want Benjamin Williams to be is I want Benjamin Williams to be the main guide for Brian Mills, because Ben really wants to help out his old friend for as long as he can, so he could help him out for what kind of problems that Brian Mills had right now. So, yeah, that will be an interesting thing to see is Benjamin Williams helping out his best friend to solve his problems. And, you know, find a way to get Brian Mills and his family back as a whole. And he will do the best he can to get that mission done. And also for his look and his character design, I have a really cool idea for what Benjamin Williams would look like. I will see him. He's going to wear black clothes. He's going to wear every single black clothes that he has, from his shirt, to his pants, to his shoes and socks. He doesn't wear sunglasses. And he will truly look like Alan Rickman, somewhere around like 55 or 56 years old. But the most important thing I really want to see of Benjamin Williams is he carries a sword around his back. And thanks to his sword, he became the main guardian for the city of Big Ben. He was once an Irish assassin back in the past, all the way through to the main British guardian for the city of Big Ben. I wish I could tell you more about this cool character that I decided to make up, but anyway, I decided to put Benjamin Williams at number 3. Okay, my friends, I'm going to take a break a couple of minutes, and I will tell you about my last 2 most famous ideas that I want to put in my Taken Retelling Story, so please don't go away.